Hello, everybody. It's Vinyl Rich here.
Richie,
Hey, how you doing?
nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Um, I've been watching you for a long time, really enjoy your channel, and but I know it'll bore you if I start to tell you how much I enjoy it. So we'll just move right into the questions. First bit is kind of get to know you stuff. So, when did you start your channel?
I think it was 10 years ago, 10 years and 2 months ago.
Wow, you're the grandfather in the VC, right?
No, not really. There were ones that were doing it like 5 years before that.
Wow, cool. And where are you based?
I live in Bakersfield now. I I lived the majority of my life. I lived in the East Bakersfield. I mean East LA area. But yeah.
Hmm. And why did you start a vinyl channel?
Well, my brother told me about it. He told me about this channel, Derek Higgins, and I watched a little bit of it, and I go, "This is stupid," you know. I don't want to watch some guy showing records. And then I forgot all about it, and I talked to my brother about a year later, and I go, "Hey, what was that channel?" And so I started watching them, and I don't know. Nobody I know really is into collecting records, so it's kind of a way of communicating with people, and they're not around, but you can still communicate.
Cool. Um, how'd you come up with your channel moniker or name?
I I don't. It just because it rhymed with Lionel Richie, and I just thought, that would be kind of funny. So I picked that, and then it turned out I guess there's a DJ named Vinyl Richie, but I didn't know that at the time. But yeah, I just thought it would be kind of funny.
What's your experience been like, and what in particular has surprised you about having a VC channel?
Um, I don't know what surprised me the most. It's sometimes you kind of run out of ideas, and you don't really feel like, I don't know, inspired to make a video on that, and you start thinking, oh, maybe I'll just hang it up. And then a month later, you have more ideas than you have time to make videos. So it's kind of weird. That's the surprising thing. It isn't like for me, it's not like a constant. But yeah, it's been good. This past Black Friday record store day, I was in the record store and I didn't buy anything, but some guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you're Vinyl Richie, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you mind if I take a picture?" And we're over there taking a picture. And the owner of the record store is laughing, man. Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, so let's go into the 10 questions. So first one is, what record are you really enjoying these days? Sort of a front of the pile record.
Um, it's this band from Thailand, and I guess it's Kahil Beer Bood, and I think it means stale beer in Thai. But yeah, I've been listening to them quite a bit.
Tell me a favorite concert experience you've had.
Oh, there's been a lot. Um, when I saw Neil Young, it was in '73. Well, the first time I saw him, it was at the Bakersfield Civic Auditorium, and apparently Linda Ronstadt was the opening band, and I guess three of the Eagles were her backing band. But I wasn't there for her, and to be honest, I don't even remember her set at all. But when Neil Young came out, he came out and did, I think, a couple of songs just by himself. Then another guy came out, they did a few songs, and then another guy, and then eventually David Crosby came out and Graham Nash, and it was like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young almost. It was a really good concert. But yeah, it was like real simple, and it just built and built and built and built, and it was a good experience.
I imagine that that was a benefit of being in the LA area. That probably wasn't a tour thing.
Yeah, we got that a lot in Bakersfield. I noticed like bands like War, I think they played Bakersfield more than they did like a lot of other towns because they could just come up an hour and a half north of LA and they would get really good crowds too. So I, yeah.
Tell me about a favorite Bowie record.
Um, my favorite is probably Aladdin Sane, but I'm gonna tell you about Diamond Dogs. And Diamond Dogs was the first Bowie album that I bought when it was new coming out. Um, Everything else before that I went back to, but I bought Diamond Dogs when it first came out, and I took it home and I listened to it, and I didn't like it. The guitars were kind of raw, and I guess it's the first album without Mick Ronson on guitars, and it just wasn't. Man, I don't like this. So I ended up returning it, and I don't think it was probably a couple of years later before I rebought it. But yeah, my and that happens a lot. My initial reaction to a record is like, yeah, and then I go back to it, and it's a favorite, you know.
I'm familiar with that pattern. One of the saddest songs ever.
Uh, what's that one? How Soon Is Now? Is it by the Smiths? Something about I'm gonna die, and I don't know. It's pretty sad, man.
A lot of Smith songs are pretty sad and funny.
Yeah.
What about one of the most joyful songs ever?
Um, I Am You, You Are Me. Peter Frampton.
How about the Frank Zappa version? I'm in you.
Yeah.
Okay, first, like you come down in the morning. I don't know about your home life, but you've got the house to yourself. You grab a cup of coffee. What's the first record of the day you might put on?
Well, I don't drink coffee, but I do end up having the house to myself every day for a few hours. And it really varies, but I would say I can play more extreme stuff. A lot of the stuff, if I put it on, my wife will go, "What the hell are you listening to?" And I can put that stuff on when no one's here. So, but it's not one particular album for sure.
But you would kickstart your day with some pretty in your face music. You don't have to ease in.
No, the time of day or like I don't have like Sunday morning music or Friday night music. I don't have that. I just play whatever.
You don't have categories in your filing system for that?
No, no, no.
Um, Give me the name of one of the most underrated bands in your estimation.
The Butthole Surfers. I I was gonna say Peel too, Public Image. I think they're kind of underrated, but I'll stick with my first one.
Van Morrison or Jackson Brown, or neither?
Um, I would go with Van Morrison. I think maybe The Pretender is my favorite Jackson Brown album, and I might like that more than any Van Morrison, but I think Van Morrison as a whole has more good albums.
Joni Mitchell or Aretha Franklin?
Oh, come on, man. That's uh I'll have to go with Joni Mitchell.
Three must-have desert island discs that you would need to take with you to a desert island.
The Beatles' White Album, Beggar's Banquet by the Rolling Stones, and Never Mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols.
You got some classics there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've got five specially customized questions for you. Um, So I'm going to ask you about being dropped into a musical scene from the past, and I want you to pick one that you would most want to be dropped into. And you can pick your own as well, but examples might be Laurel Canyon. So, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Frank Zappa, blah, blah, blah. The UK birth of punk. So Clash, Sex Pistols, Damned, etc. New York City punk, so CBGB in particular, so everything from the Dolls all the way up to Verlaine Television, Talking Heads, etc. Hamburg, 60 to 62, or fill in the blank. Which one would you choose?
I'll go with the Hamburg 6062.
Nice. I asked this question to a good friend of mine, and I gave him like fixed three or even two scenarios, and he picked one, and then he goes, "But if I could choose my own, it'd be Hamburg 60 to 62." Yeah. Okay. Um, what are the elements that make for a perfect punk song?
Well, you take out the intro, you take out the middle, you take out the outro, and you just have a good rock and roll song, basically.
Awesome. Um, so with all due respect, like me, you're not a really young man.
No.
You've also stated in the past that records are just things.
Yes.
So what's asking for a friend, what's your plan in terms of winding down eventually your record collection? Do you die with the whole thing and it's someone else's problem, or do you get rid of it gradually or all at once?
It's funny you asked that. I have been selling off a lot of my US punk albums. I got introduced to somebody that's interested, and we're talking, and I'm pretty much getting close to Discogs medium. So it's worked out really well. So yeah, I've been selling. I'm kind of going the opposite trend of the vinyl community. I'm selling originals and buying reissues.
I enjoyed your episode, your segment on that, and I can kind of I'm the same thing. I'm not really seeking out OGs. And the other thing is, I don't really want to fill in my collection with stuff I know. I want to find stuff I don't know. I've never heard before.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of bands that I have everything in studio album wise, but I'm not a completist. I don't need it. If it's an album I'm not going to go to, I don't need it. And I've been getting rid of a lot of that kind of stuff too.
Thank you. Tell me a great rock biography, autobiography, or a music documentary that you think people should check out.
Man, there's a lot of them. There's one about Miles Davis, and I think it was Electric Miles. It was basically looking at Miles Davis through the eyes of a rock and roller. That was pretty interesting. The Keith Morris autobiography was pretty good, but by the end, it kind of started tailing off for me. I'm currently reading a book about Red Cross, and that one, it's a really good, easy read. And basically, what that is different scenarios, and they're both talking about what they remember, and yeah, it's
Do they remember things quite differently?
no, pretty much they remember them pretty much the same so far, yeah. And it's kind of weird some of the stuff. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm through my questions. Thank you for participating. It's really it's good to meet you. One of the things that I found surprising about the VC is just actually meeting either virtually or in person or both people who love music. And so thanks for the opportunity to meet you virtually and maybe one day in person.
Yeah, maybe if I ever go up to see the Jets play the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, come north with Mazzy and we can do
Yeah,
a record crawl. Your money goes a long way up here in Canada.
that's good to hear.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, my friend, and we'll
All
talk
right.
soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.